Look at the calendar of any branch manager in your branch network. You might notice a common imbalance how they invest their time. Oftentimes, they spend 80% of their coaching and leadership time for the bottom 20% of the employees. They feel themselves like stepping to the HR coordinators because they try to carry the struggling employees to the basic finishing line. But actually, they yield a low return on investment for their leadership approach. But the true gold mine you can't find constantly fixing the 20% of the bottom line, but elevating the middle, the 60% of the staff. Welcome back to the Leadership Systems channel. I'm Dr. Kithsiri, Banking Revenue and Leadership Systems Architect. Today we are going to dissect the mathematical and psychological imperative of moving your middle 60%. In his book, Winning, Jack Welch introduced a concept called differentiation strategy. He conceptualized the workforce into a bell curve or a normal distribution. Now let's adapt this rule, 20-60-20 rule, to your retail branch network. Top 20% of the employees, they're autonomous. They hit their target with minimum management push. Your bottom 20%, they consume most of the leadership oxygen. They yield minimal return on coaching investment. Now look at the math. If a branch manager spends 10 hours to push this bottom 20% of the people to move their performance from 50% to 60%, the aggregate revenue impact is small. But on the other hand, if they make a 10% increment in the middle 60% of the employees or the average performers, your compound effect on the revenue is massive. You cannot scale a bank purely managing the bottom 20%. You can scale a bank, an organization, elevating the middle 60%. Why do teams oftentimes neglect this 60%, the middle workforce? It comes down to the psychology of benign neglect. Because the middle 60% are not failing, they don't trigger the manager's immediate intervention. And also, as they are not superstars, they don't get the high-profile projects. They exist in an invisible comfort zone. Psychologically, these steady performers being overlooked. Over time, this benign neglect breeds stagnation. They aren't consistently challenged, so their growth plateaus. Your branch managers might think putting the generic pressure is more than enough to fix this issue. But actually, the middle pack doesn't need generic push. They need specific targeted development. To break this stagnation, you have to install what I call the next step challenge. This is a structural shift in the performance management. You have to make sure that the branch managers move away from the generic performance review for this 60% of the middle staff. Instead of that, the branch manager has to make sure that every steady performer is skillful with the one micro skill level on each month, so they can move towards the top tier. They should not given a vague goal like increase in sales. You have to give a specific skill, a surgical skill like handling interest rate objection of SME loans, or mastering referrals during account opening, cross-selling, CASA selling during the loan disbursement. By isolating a specific skill, you eliminate the overwhelmness. You give a specific, achievable, measurable target for each employee so they can achieve that. Therefore, to operationalize across your retail branch network, I encourage you to follow these 3 steps. Step number 1, the vital 60 mapping. Ask every branch manager to map their team. Identify who are belonging to bottom 20%, top 20%, and the middle 60%. Ask them to write down the names. When you writing down the names, you elevate your focus for the middle 60%. Step number 2, the one skill focus. At the starting of every month, the manager should assign next step challenge skill for every employee in the 60% category of the workforce. This should be logged and tracked on weekly basis, on one-to-one basis. Now here, if you present generic target numbers instead of this specific skill development, you miss a very valuable coaching opportunity. Step number 3, the coaching time boundary. Ask your managers to spend specific time frame to coach the bottom 20%. You have to put a reasonable cap. If they are not developing with this reasonable coaching time period, and if they are not meeting the baseline expectation, that has to be handled by the HR. So the branch managers can invest that additional time for the middle 60% of the workforce. As an executive, you are running a high-performing financial institute. Therefore, you require strategic time management from your managers. Traditional systems emphasize your managers to focus on bottom 20% of the workforce. But your biggest revenue engine is middle 60% of the workforce. Therefore, you need to have a systematic pivot. If you are ready to implement a systematic system within your branch network to drive the revenue and to elevate your leadership systems, please read the below description. In our total branch transformation system, we develop exact protocols and we guide your sales team as well as your managerial team to achieve the targets and make your branch network profitable. We'll see you soon with another video like this.